What's up guys, Commander Alex here, and today we are going to be playing some Vainglory, and I am going to be playing as Vox in the lane. So I got a lot of requests to do a guide for Vox. You guys will notice that I've sort of just stopped posting like regular gameplay videos, and those will start up, but you know, you guys you seem to be enjoying the guide, so we're going to go with them. I mean, obviously they're gameplay in and of themselves, but they're just more based on the information in them and a little bit less on the me being salty at my teammates and enemies. But yeah, so we're going to be doing a Vox in the lane, and the interesting thing about this is we have Koshka in the jungle, which is going to mean that we kind of have to go for a weapon power Vox. The reason for this is if we went CP, our team would be very easy to counter, seeing as we're both building CP, and it probably wouldn't go too well for us. So we're going to be going for a weapon power Vox. You will notice that I started book. High level Voxes tend to go for a Swifty as their first item, but since I'm not a high level Vox and I can't really fully take advantage of that stutter stepping advantage to clear the wave, I'm just going to go with my book, and hopefully we can survive the lane. The other reason I went for it is because I'm going against a Ringo, who can be a rather difficult matchup to take, especially as Vox. The nice thing is we aren't going as, say, I don't know, against a Blackfeather. That would be a very hard counter. In the early game. Like, of course, Vox is the only counter to Blackfeather in the late game, but in the early game, Blackfeather kind of destroys Vox. Anyway, now that we've gotten past the little counters and all that, let's talk about what you should be doing as Vox in the lane. So, with Vox in the lane, basically your main goal is to farm. Now, you have two ways that you can play Vox, obviously CP and weapon power. I'm going to be showing a weapon power today, which is more single target damage based. So, the thing with CP is once you get built, you can AoE nuke an entire team and just destroy everybody, and it's incredibly satisfying, but also takes a lot of items to pull off, so most of the time that's not going to happen. You know, if you get to that late game, you will be able to be one of the strongest characters in the game, but it takes quite a bit to get there. With weapon power Vox, you get an earlier power spike, but it's not as massive, and you don't scale quite as well into the late game. So I'm going to be looking to take on Ringo in the mid game, and I can probably hold about even with him in the late game. In the early game, he still has an advantage, but definitely mid game is where I'm going to be trying to make my play against him. So right now, I'm just going to be farming up. Obviously, there's a couple items I could go for. This is probably not a good fight to take, but it looks like we're going to take it anyway. Didn't even know that Finn was in our jungle, so that was scary that he was just chilling there. Yeah, so my jungle is being very proactive right now, coming for a lot of ganks, which as a high, not a high elo jungle, a high like early game pressure jungle, this is what they probably should be doing, but I would suggest that they focus that in the jungle and not so much in the lane. The reason for that is that I am not a high pressure early game laner, and therefore I'm not really looking to get ganks. I'm looking to just sort of chill. Now, I mean, I'm not going to say no to the ganks, they're very, very nice, but they might be able to get more out of it if they focus their efforts into invading the enemy team's jungle, because then either our laner or the enemy team's laner rotates, I get a farm advantage, or the enemy team's laner doesn't rotate and they get a kill advantage in the jungle. So that's why sometimes it's better to, instead of gank, invade. It's because you can force mismatches in the lane, which can either create farm advantages or numbers advantages in the jungle. It's just a little bit more flexible that way. You also tend to not see high elo players gank as much unless there's a reason to do so. A lot of lower elo players, they tend to just gank because they can. That was very lucky there. I used my A ability to actually skip right in front of him, so when he punted me forward. Without that, I probably would have died there actually, so kind of saved my butt there. It looks like there is someone in the bush, so we're going to play nice and passive. The enemy team is spending quite a bit of time in lane trying to shut me down, but they're not killing me. So as long as I can just sort of hold on here, I should be okay. My only real issue right now is that this is going to mean... Actually, I don't really have an issue with it. Let's just make sure nobody's here. I'll ping that the enemy team's jungle isn't here. Hopefully my team got that ping. The funny thing is, since people use the question mark ping so often just to kind of berate each other about like what they've done wrong, it tends to not ever be used as like a missing enemy hero ping. So people sometimes can actually get confused when they see it used that way. If you guys don't know, it is technically supposed to be used, there's Glaive, we're going to back off. It's technically supposed to be used as a enemy laner or enemy jungler missing, so that you can tell, like, oh, we don't know where the enemy laner is, you should back off because they're probably coming to invade your jungle, something like that. but it tends to not be used that way. Looks like we're going to get close to the safety of our jungle, or our turret rather, but it's not going to be enough there. I was a little bit late on my jump and I died from it, so that sucks. And now we get to go for some items here. So first things first, we're going to go Weapon Blade, Strip Shooter into Blazing, another Weapon Blade, Boots, and I'm actually going to go for a Dragon's Heart. The reason I'm going for such an early amount of defense, especially on like a damage carry laner like this, which you normally wouldn't see. You would almost never see in the early game a carry like this go for so much health. Sometimes you would see me go for a reflex block, but the reason I went for all the health is because I'm not likely to be able to reflex block a blind glaive punt. Like if I don't know that he's about to hit me with it, the chances of me having the reflex and blocking it are fairly minimal. But at the same time, that extra health might allow me the time to get back to turret. So that's why sometimes if you're not certain that you can use your reflex block effectively, it's almost better to build just health, because at least that means you're going to stay alive rather long. Alright, so this Finn is definitely out of position here. We should be able to capitalize on it. Hopefully I pick up the kill. It looks like I did there. I don't know if they fed it to me or not, but that's always nice to get a kill, especially as a laner, because it's going to mean that the enemy team's laner isn't going to be able to do much to me. Like at this point, he doesn't have a kill, I have a kill, so I can kind of just do what I want in lane, especially since my jungle is pushing. So the reason I'm pushing right now is because A, I know that the enemy team's jungle is down a man, so they're not going to be ganking, and B, my jungle is taking the gold mine, so I want to make sure the enemy team's jungle can't rotate to the gold mine. So that's kind of the thought process behind that. And we trade perfectly fine there. Alright, so I started a lot of different like tier 1 and tier 2 items. I'm not exactly sure what I'm build. Obviously Sorrow Blade's going to be a big item for me, but after that I'm thinking about going for a Bonesaw build. A lot of people don't like going for Bonesaw early, and from a theory crafting perspective it's not that great until you look at the actual numbers, until then it actually becomes really good, is basically what I'm trying to say. Okay, so we're just going to not die here. Thing got close. Finn is in my jungle here, so I'm going to ping my enemy, my jungle to come here. I try to ping like come here, but also that there's danger in that bush. I don't know if they got the idea. It looks like they did. Arden is here. Finn seems to have left. Oh, Finn's in that jungle. And I actually got out of that. Hopefully my jungle can do work, because I don't really have anything to help them. Let's see what we can do here. We can throw some damage in on Finn. Yeah, I don't really like this. I'm just going to keep my distance here. Hopefully I can stay alive. I do have a Book of Eulogies right now, so I will be able to heal up if I can start getting some last hits. But until then, it's going to be really rough, and I don't want Ringo to come anywhere near me. So we're just going to play this nice and... shit. I might still be able to get away, actually. Yeah, it's just Finn. Finn is one of those heroes that, like, he'll kill you if he lands anything, but it's super hard to land anything with him, so... since... not hard to land that. Alright, I should have seen that coming. I completely forgot Ringo had level 6. That's on me right there. Okay, so now that we got wrecked, let's go and buy some items here. I'm just going to get some more tier 2 items, building into some lifesteal. The reason I like actually the Barb Needle over the book, some people don't ever upgrade, but I actually like doing that upgrade. The reason is because A, cost effective wise, it's off the charts. The lifesteal cost effectiveness of Barb Needle is super awesome. Also, when you get Barb Needle, you get in-fight lifesteal, if that makes sense. So basically, with the Book of Eulogies, you get lifesteal, but it's really only lifesteal when you kill something, because you get the extra health whenever you kill something, but it's not sustained damage lifesteal. So if you get something to 1% health, but you don't actually kill it, you don't get any health back from it. So therefore, it's not like true lifesteal. Whereas with, you know, the Barb Needle, if you get it close to dead, you're actually going to get health back for all the damage that you dealt. There we go, that was a cheeky little kill there. I used my ultimate to apply resonance so that my my A ability would actually bounce to him, which was, I guess, a good decision. Okay, it looks like we are not going to get that kill, because that's stupid. And Koshka hung around too long here. Okay, Arden a little bit late with the Vanguard there. I was hoping that he would throw it in a little bit earlier, but guess not. And now we have to play a little bit more passive here. Arden Vanguard? No? Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna back off because I don't trust my Arden Vanguard. We should have been able to win that fight hands down. It was 2v3 or 1v2. Yeah, it was 1v2 in our favor, and we had an Arden who should have been able to continually Vanguard me, but he didn't seem to be on point there. So just not gonna try and hedge my bets, and instead I'm gonna head back to base here and pick up my Sour Blade as well as a little bit of crit. Not exactly sure where I'm gonna be heading with this build, but my general idea here is I want to go Sour Blade into probably a Tyrant's Monocle, maybe even 2 Tyrant's Monocles and a Tornado Trigger. We'll see how that goes, but the idea behind at least that build that I would be thinking about is that 2 Tyrant's Monocles and a Tornado Trigger is 100% crit, which means that I can get 4 crits off in quick succession, which is amazing. And now we are dead. Now we are dead. That sucks. Yeah, I mean, that was definitely partly positioning there, but I'm just really having a rough time in lane here because of the ganks. So, I mean, yes, it's nice that my jungle is sticking around, but as you can see, they're not really helping. They're kind of just adding to the pain right now. So hopefully they realize that and start to roam into their jungle. Because if my jungle focused more in the jungle and not trying to save me in lane, yes, I might die more often, but at the same time, they would still be wasting time in lane while my jungle was getting farmed. So overall, it would actually probably work out better for us. Because you see right now, Glaive's in our jungle taking our backs, which is going to just make things even worse for us. Okay, here's Finn. Dodge that. Gonna throw that out. One more. There we go. Going to apply Resonance again. Didn't quite dodge that. Arden took that kill. Wow. Probably didn't need to do that, Arden, but whatever. Either way, we pick up a double kill there pretty easily, and now we can actually push down the lane. So that's going to be really nice. The thing about this build is that under like control conditions, it has incredibly good damage output and a sustained damage, which is the best part. The only downside is that it doesn't have quite as much AoE damage as a CP build, and it can kind of fall off if you get caught off guard. Like, you have your dash to get away, but at the same time, the moment you miss the dash, Arden, get out, Vanguard out, Vanguard out. Okay, that was, you could have used that a little bit earlier, but whatever. Anyway, yeah, if you get caught off guard with this, the only real escape you have is your dash, and while you can use it, it's only a small dash, so if you get pulled by like Finn or someone, you're likely still gonna die, unless you get, you know, a freaking fountain, crucible, and 10 other different things trying to save your life. You're probably gonna go down. I'm gonna ping my team away from this one. Yeah, that's why. I guess I have to cancel my back now. Going back away from him because I didn't want the AoE damage. And we probably can't win this fight, but I guess we're going to try anyway. Holy shit, I did a lot of damage there. That was unexpected. And that should be it right there. There we go. Alright, so, I mean, I guess there's a sustained damage for you. I was not expecting as much damage as I had. And looking at how much damage I did, I might actually adjust my build and go for a Clockwork, because I'm getting a massive damage burst every time I use my A ability. Obviously, the A ability does give you % extra weapon power as well as quick auto attacks, which means that you're going to be, well, to put it simply, you're going to be doing a hell of a lot of damage because of it. But at the same time, it has weaknesses, and that's why I tend to not build cooldown reduction when I'm building weapon power. That's going to be a kill right there. We are not in a good position. We're going to go down there. Arden is going to be here. Hopefully they can pick up the Ringo. If they do, this could very easily be the end of the game. I don't know about that gauntlet, but whatever. It looks like Koshka is going to run a little bit late on the reflex block. This Arden seems to have really slow reflexes. He isn't vanguarding to block anything, and his fountains and reflexes have not been great. I guess we'll go for a Tyrant's Monocle, and then we can build this into a Shiver Steel. The Shiver Steel is nice because I have fairly high attack speed right now, so I can continually apply that to an enemy if I get it once on top of them. Plus, since I have good stick normally, even if they try and dash away like with Glaive, I'll be able to keep up with him and make sure that he doesn't get away. So Shiver Steel on range carries isn't quite as effective. It's stats-wise just more effective on a weapon power, or not a weapon power, but rather a melee carry. I overextended, and I'm dead. Unless... Nope, I'm still dead. Vanguard, anything? Oh, the fountain. Okay, that'll do it. Thank you. I'm definitely going to head back to base, though. There we go. That was kind of clutch there. After I kind of hated on him for a little bit, he actually came out pretty big there. So I got to give my Arden some props. And I got to give myself a little bit of a little wrap on the knuckles there or whatever, because I pushed up too far without having any idea it was in the bush. So if I had played that correctly, I would have brought flares or mines or something, and I would have kept vision in that bush, because they're obviously ganking me often, so it'd probably be smarter of me to keep vision in the bush. But, you know, it's not a super big deal. We're still doing fine here. They're going to go for that. I'm going to tell them to while I push the lane. The reason is, if they see one person in lane, the enemy team is much less likely to think that we're going for the Kraken. Although Glaive just disappeared. He's up there. Okay. Okay, we did get Kraken. I was basically just a decoy for that, but I'm okay with that. A lot of lag right there, and we're back to normal. Okay, well, yeah, I was basically just trying to distract them, and it worked. They didn't even check Kraken because they were too busy chasing me, so I'm okay with that. It might have been better if I just helped with Kraken, but it's hard to say, so we're just going to say that I made the correct decision there. I'm going to apply my Shiver Steel so that I can keep with this guy. I don't want him to turn on me. He is going to turn in there. I'm going to wait for this, and oh, that was a very good dodge. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. Or is it? Nope, it's not. Okay. Well, he almost dodged me there. But I had the vision down here, so I knew he didn't back out all the way, so there's kind of only one place he could be, so kind of sad there. I thought he might have actually pulled off a really nice juke, but he didn't, and my team's still finishing the game. That is going to be the game there. So, an okay game. Definitely some mistakes made there, and you notice there was a massive emphasis in the lane with ganking from the enemy team. Glaive, Finn, and Ringo, they had foaming mouths for me. I don't know what it was. Obviously, Glaive and Finn are great ganking combos. With all that CC, Glaive can pump me into Finn, and Finn can just keep me there forever. So it's not surprising that they put so much of an emphasis on the lane, but at the same time, it is kind of annoying for me just because it meant that it was really hard for me to kind of do anything. Looking at builds though, I think Glaive sold his build, but that could have technically been his build. I'm not sure. Ringo, he definitely didn't sell his build. That looks exactly what it was like. And one thing to note with Ringo is he went Atlas Pauldron, which isn't necessarily a bad item, but I probably would have suggested that he go for the Full Metal Jacket for a couple reasons. A, I didn't build any armor pierce. B, I have basically auto attack resets all over the place, plus given auto attacks that won't be affected by Atlas Pauldron. The reason I say that is my A ability allows me to auto attack, reset to get 2 auto attacks, and then reset my auto attack animation to get a 4th in really quick succession. So basically what happens is when he uses Atlas on me, my combo of auto attack, auto attack still gives me 4 auto attacks in approximately the same amount of time. So if I were Ringo, I would have gone Full Metal Jacket and not Aegis, but that's just my personal opinion. As far as the rest of his build, it was pretty much standard Ringo stuff. Go for the tension bow, annoy the shit out of your enemy laner, and then it looked like he was going into crit, which is pretty normal. As far as Finn goes, again, everything was really normal over there. The enemy team knew what they were doing, unless Glaive actually built what he built. I believe he sold and then rebought like fake items, but if that's actually what Glaive built, then I would not have suggested it, just because yes, he had tons of CC and he was very annoying with his afterburns, but at the same time, he didn't really do that much damage if that was his build, so I wouldn't suggest that for Glaive. As far as Arden goes in our team, there's a few changes I would have made there. I probably would have had him prioritize an Aegis, because that would have cut down on the Ringo's Pearling Silver attack speed, which is very useful. Also, I probably would have had him I don't know. I guess going for the Bone Saw, which it looks like that was the next item he was going for, would have been okay. But at the same time, in a fight like this where there's so much less damage from the enemy team, going Breaking Point might be a good item as his 6th or 5th item. And the reason for that is that when you go Breaking Point at such a late game item, and they're not doing enough damage to insta-kill us, then it becomes this world where Arden can get a bunch of stacks because he's not dying super quickly, and eventually he can take over the fight as the damage carry for our team. So, I don't know, Bonesaw or Breaking Point would have worked for him. It was just, I guess, a personal opinion. And then we have Koshka. Now, Koshka, I don't know if she actually built double armors. I kind of doubt it, but I do like that she went Aftershock Broken Myth, and the reason for that is that Aftershock Broken Myth, it's like the perfect combo. So the piercing from the Broken Myth does apply to the Aftershock damage. The Aftershock allows you to get through health, and if you build armor, then it doesn't do anything against this build. So the three main defensive builds that you can go for are armor, shield, and health. Those are kind of the only things you can do. But if you build armor, then you're not defending against CP at all. If you go for shield, then the shield pierce of the Broken Myth is going to negate that. And if you go for health, then the percent health damage from the Aftershock is going to negate that. So that's why the combo of Aftershock and Broken Myth is such a strong one, and why so many heroes utilize it. And then you have me. My build wasn't optimal. I did buy tier 3 boots, probably just because I have the gold or something. I don't know why. I do recommend going for the early Shiver Steel, probably not quite as early as I did it. The reason is just because I was getting ganked so often. I wanted the extra health to stay alive, and I knew that eventually I would build into Shiver Steel. But everything else is fairly standard. I went for some attack speed, I went for the damage from the Sorrow Blade, and then I was going to build into probably double Tyrants and a a Tornado Trigger, which would have given me 100% crit, some pretty good attack speed, and then the Sorrow Blade would have been enough to make those crits hit like Mac trucks, which is kind of the idea of the build. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to have a like, comment, and subscription, and become a lieutenant today. And in the comments down below, tell me who you want me to do next as a guide. Also, tomorrow should be a bunch of Rhyme gameplay. I'm working on him. It's really hard to get games to the PvE, but I definitely want my next video on him to be like a legit gameplay between me and other players so that you can see him in action against a true team comp and exactly how things go down there. So hopefully you guys are psyched for that, and I'll talk to you guys next time. See ya.